Alright, so we are now live. I'm just going to pin my email to the chat. So if anyone has any problems after the stream and they can't contact me, this is how they can contact me, which is through my email. And I'll just put it in the chat right now. So this is my email. So if you guys have any questions after the lesson, right, if you guys have any questions after the lesson, you guys can feel free to contact me at this email. Alright, but we'll wait a bit longer until everyone comes in and then we'll begin the lesson. Okay, we have 6 people right now. Alright, in that case, we should have more people coming in soon though. Okay, just give it some time. Okay, 7 people. Hi, I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, sorry, boy, don't worry about it. Yeah, if you didn't attend last class, okay, yeah, so, if you don't know what Replit is, I'll get into it with you when the class starts, okay? But for now, yeah, if you didn't watch last week's stream, that's okay because it's on the YouTube channel, Youth Computing YouTube channel, so you can just go to the YouTube channel and just catch up on what we did last time. But today at the start of the class, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be reviewing what we did. Okay, Jaden, all right. Okay, Jaden, yeah. So I'm going to be reviewing what we did last week actually. So don't worry if you didn't watch it. You can watch it later. But for now, I'll just give I'll give a summary of what we did. Okay. So at around 4:50, I'll start teaching. Okay. I saw a bit of variables. Yeah, yeah. So that's actually one of the things we did last time, which was declaring variables. So yeah, variables are basically if you have gotten that far into your math, then you know that a variable can store a value, right? And so in computer science, variables can store value, lots of different types of values. They can store numbers, whole numbers, which can be represented as integers, int keyword, can also be represented as decimals. And to do that, you have to call it a double, right? Or you can also like assign it a value of a word. And to do that, you would have to call it a string type, string data type. Okay. Oh, the Minecraft example. Yeah. So you would use variables to hold value. So then it's a lot easier to modify them or like do operations with them. For instance, like say you wanted to change the height of a building in a video game, right? Say you had a video game where you had a building, right? Instead of you could create a variable called building height, and that will store the height of the building, how tall it is, right? So we could say that the building was 10 meters tall. If the building was 10 meters tall and we wanted to make it even taller or even shorter, what we could do is that we could just go in and then say that the building height is equal to building height minus 2 meters, and that would make it 2 meters shorter. Yeah, you can make a variable. I'll actually make a variable right now to show you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the sword does have a variable of 9. Yeah, and so that variable could represent a lot of things. So you could create a variable called attack damage, and then right, you could have something that makes it so that when you ever hit something, you would do a amount of damage, the amount of damage that's stored in the variable to a certain to an enemy, like in a video game. Okay, so around right now we have 9 people. Okay, I'm going to wait 2 more minutes before we start. All right, guys. We have 11 people watching. Okay. Just gonna wait a couple more minutes until we start. Yeah, we might have some people who are still trickling in. I also know that like it's a long weekend this week, so there might be some people who are outside enjoying the sun or something. So, but that's okay. Why are there only 3 people in the chat? That's a good question, Angela. That's a good question. There should be more people coming in soon. If not, that's okay. That means I can help you guys more one-on-one individually. Alright, so it's almost 5 p.m. Oh, your friend went to Whistler. I don't know where that is, but hopefully they had a good time. Let's see. Okay, yeah, Jaden, I can answer your questions, but first, I'm just going to like review because I feel like during my review of last lesson, yeah, I'll probably like I might answer your questions, but yeah, for sure, I'll definitely will be able to help you after the lesson. All right, it's 5 p.m. now, so I guess I could wait a little bit longer, but I guess I'll start for now. All right, so start, I want to thank you guys for all coming to our second Java Get Started programming class. Last week, I'm just going to go over what we went over last week. And so last week, we went over creating variables, right? And so we talked about when creating variables, we have to specify what type of data you're going to hold, right? So sometimes you could have a variable called maybe, well, if you want to have a variable that holds a number, you could call it like a number of chickens, right? Maybe you're a farmer and you're on a farm and you wanna keep track of how many chickens you have. Well, you can't have half of a chicken, right? You can only have a whole number of chickens. So you want to use whole numbers, so like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So to do that, what you would essentially do is you would specify a int keyword head of the variable name. So then Java knows that you want to create a variable that will store an integer value. Okay? And so after we declare that it's an integer, we will then have an equal sign, and then this equal sign will tell us how many chickens we have here, or how much this variable will be holding. And so if we have 10 chickens on our farm, we can say, all right, well then the number of chicken variable will be equal to 10 because we have 10 chickens, right? And so this makes it a lot easier to keep track of chickens. So for instance, let's say we get more chickens, right? Then we can change this variable here and make it larger. Oh, okay, you ran your code, but nothing happened. Yeah, right now, I'm just going over and showing you it's not supposed to run anything right now. And yeah, if anyone is not watching on their Google account, I suggest you do. Yeah. So Jaden, I recommend you make a Replit account, and I can show you right now if you right. So make a new Replit account. You want to go to replit, and after you search that up, you can go to the sign up function. And so sign up, you can just sign up with your Google account. After you sign up with your Google account, what will happen is that I'll just log in, right? Or you could log in with your Google account too. So I logged in with my Google account, right? And now you'll be sent to this page here. You can just press, go under create and go press this plus button. And then for the language, you want to choose Java. Okay, just Java. And then you can name your REPL. And after you create it, you'll be sent to, you'll have your main file here, right? And this is where we're going to be doing our code in. And so just then, I was showing you guys how to create a variable, right? So you can also do more than that. You can also store words in variables. So say we have a name, your name could be, we could say my name was Sean. Then we could create a variable called name and then store this word Sean. Whenever you create a variable for a string, which is like text words, you have to put it inside these quotation marks. Okay, Angela, you're having an error. So, okay, so let's see what your error is. Can you tell me what error specifically is, like what it says? Yeah, if you could tell me, that would be great. It says fifth, it takes like, oh, okay, so that's not an error. See, the way it is that like, I don't know how the Replit is structured, but it just takes a while for the code to get compiled. So don't worry if it takes that long. I think that should be pretty normal, right? So don't worry about that. So do I write the code you wrote already? You don't have to do any writing for now. I'm just showing you guys what we did last time, okay? And so in addition to actually declaring variables, we also went over something called if statements too. So if statements are really good if you want to execute or like run a part of code like only sometimes. So say like say we're at the farm, right? We're back at the farm and we have our chickens. But because of our farm is not large, we can only have a certain number of chickens, right? So we'll say if if we have more than 10 chickens, right? If we have more than 10 chickens, we'll say we have too many chickens, okay? So in order to do that, what we do is we will create this if statement here, right? Because we only want it to print we have too many chickens if the number of chickens is greater than 10. And so what we can do right now is get our number of chickens, right, which is stored inside this variable, it's 10, right? And then we want to compare it. So we'll say if the number of chickens is larger than 10, then print we have too many chickens. and we'll print this. We have too many chickens. And what happens if we have less than 10 chickens? Well, we can say that this else block here, this else statement, we'll look at here. So what the computer will do is that it will check this statement, right? After we did all of these steps, it will go here and it will look at number of chickens. So we have this variable, right? So it will look at this variable right here. And it says our variable is equal to 10. All right. And so it will say if 10 is larger than 10, then it will do this right here. But 10 is not larger than 10. 10 is equal to 10. So in that case, it will not run this. Instead, it will go to this else statement because if was not fulfilled, right? If we don't run the if statement, then it'll go to the else statement. And so we'll say else, we'll print we have an okay amount of chickens. So if we run this right now, it'll check our number of chickens here, right? And say, because 10 is not larger than 10, 10 is equal to 10, right? So as long as we don't go past this limit, then it won't do this. Instead, it'll do this because the requirements for here were not met, okay? All right, we'll keep going now. And so in addition, we also went over another type of variable called the Boolean. And this will store a true or false value. So it's kind of like a true or false test where there's only two options to choose, either true or false. So if something is true, then it will do it. But if it's false, it's false, right? Okay, and today what we're going to do is that we're going to use what we learned last week. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a little game right here using the text, okay? And so to do that, what we're going to do is import the java.util.scanner. And basically what this is going to allow us to do is that it's going to allow us to take our user input and store inside variables. Instead of declaring variables here, it'll ask us for our variable here, and then we can type it in, and then it will automatically store inside of the variable, okay? So what you want to do right now is first, I'd like you guys to write this statement right here, import java.util.scanner. And once you guys are done that, just tell me, okay, in the chat if you're done. Okay, and if you guys do have any issues, just let me know in the chat and I'll be able to help you. Okay, so Jaden is done. If no one else has any troubles, we're just going to start making our game. Okay, and because we're taking the user input, we have to import the scanner. And so what this is here is this line imports this package, which basically gives us inside of the package, it's going to give us the ability to take user input, kind of like in Python, how you're able to do the same too, right? Right now, what we're going to do is we have to first create our scanner. So in Java, we have objects, right? And so the scanner in this case is an object. And in order to create an object, we have to do this. We have to specify what it is. So I just want you guys to copy what I'm doing right here. So type in scanner, right? And then you can name the scanner something. So I'm going to name my scanner input. Scanner input will be equal to new scanner. And then we're going to have these brackets right here. And so inside these brackets, we're going to type in system.in. And so what system.in basically does is it tells us to take in the input stream from here. All right. So once you guys are done, just let me know. Okay. All right. I think most people should be doing it by now. I'll go back to it right now. So what we do on the first line is we import java.util.scanner, which is the package that allows us to create a scanner. And then using the scanner right here, we use this line to create a scanner called input, which is underlined by this green squiggly line. Okay. And so by creating a scanner, what we're going to do is we're going to take the input from we're going to take user input and use it in our game. Okay. Oh, show me the code. Yeah, I'll show you the code really quickly. Here you go. Sorry about that. So just let me know when you're done, okay? Then once everyone is done, we can move on to the next step. So if you're done, just type it in and then we'll be able to move on. I'm going to look at the chat right now, and so okay, here you go, Jaden. Also, so if you guys are done, I'll just type it in the chat, please, and then we can move on. Does the name have to have a no, name doesn't have to have a green line under it. It's just like saying that REPL doesn't I should have the name as input, but really it's okay. It won't give you an error. So yeah. We'll go once we get a little deeper into Java, I'm going to like explain what is like how to create your own objects. So if you wanted to create your own object in Java, how you would be able to do that and how you'd be able to call it. Right here, we're learning to create our first, or not create, but call our first object. So in order to call an object, you have to specify what the object is. And so we're calling the scanner object. So we type in scanner, name of the object. And then we give it a name and we call this scanner input. Okay. Looks like most people are done. So what we'll do is we'll move on now. So once we have the scanner and we named it, in my case, I named it input. After we created it, what we can do is we can actually scan for a variable. So what we can do here is create a new variable. And so in our case, let's take in a string. So if we remember, a string is text or like words or something like that, right? And so we'll have our string, and right now I'm going to be taking a name, because at the start of a game, you have to give your character a name, right? So what we'll do is we'll create a string called name. And so this name will be equal to, normally we do this, right? And just give it our name, but we don't want to do that. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to do scan dot next line. And so what we do here is that we call our scanner, right? So scan, well, not scan on next line. We're going to use input on next line. Sorry about that. So what it does right here is that this method called next line is being done to this input. So we created our scanner called input right here. And what we're going to do right here is the next line basically tells the computer, okay, now we're going to take in the input of the user, right? But it's going to be in a string, right? That's the thing about Java. You always have to specify what kind of data you're taking in, or what kind of like we did variables last time, what kind of data you're using, right? So what we're going to do here is we've created this line here. We've created this and we're going to take in the input. And so I'm just going to check if you guys are done. Oh yeah, Matthew, no worries if you came late. That's completely fine. So if you learned Python, you know that in Python you have something called input. And so with the input, you'd be able to type something over here. And then it would essentially, you'd be able to use that, right? You'd be able to type in here and then take it in as a variable. And so we have something like that in Java, and in Java that's called the scanner. And so a scanner object. So everything in Java is an object, which basically means what I mean by that is that everything from every variable from an integer to a double to a string, it's all an object. So an object, you can do things, you can do like certain methods to an object, right? You can alter them. So that's basically what I mean. It's kind of like creating a variable, but it's not like integer, or it's not a decimal. Instead, it's a completely different type of variable. It's a scanner variable, and you can add different attributes to it. Okay, Matthew, you get it? All right. So yeah, basically the scanner just takes in the user input. Okay, and so once we have this line right here, this will ask the user input over here and store it inside of the name variable. Okay, and so but we have to let people know what we do it. So we'll have a print statement right here, and we'll say, please enter your name. Okay, and so then we'll run this right now. And then what it'll do is that it'll ask us for our name, and then we type in our name. So my name is Sean, so I'll write Sean. Okay, and so it doesn't actually do anything with my name yet because I haven't told it to. All I told the program, all I told it is that my name is Sean, and it'll store my name or whatever I type in here into this variable called name. All right. Now we actually have to do something with this variable because it doesn't make sense to take a variable but do nothing with it, right? All right. So then what we do is we create, we're going to say, we're going to create a print statement and say, okay, your name is, and then what we're going to take in is, because we don't know what the name is, right? We're going to add the name variable here. And so no matter what I type in here, it's going to give me what I put into name. And let's run it right now. So please enter your name. So let's say my name is Joe. Okay, I would say, okay, your name is Joe, right? And if I type in something else, like say my name is, what if my name was Mario? Okay, and it'll still give me the name, right? Because I told it to print, okay, your name is, plus my name. And because I told the program that my name was Mario, it prints out Mario, all right? If you guys are on this part, just let me know in the chat by typing done. Yeah, and I've noticed that there are some people who just came in, so I'll just tell you guys basically what we did earlier. So earlier, we did some review on the if and else statements, which are good for running pieces of code you only want to run under certain circumstances, right? If something happens, then say like if it's raining outside and we want to bring an umbrella, but you don't want to bring an umbrella if it's all the time, right? What if it's sunny? There's really no point because there's no rain. So you could create an if statement and say if it's raining outside, let's bring an umbrella. If it's not raining outside, then we don't need to bring one. Kind of like that. And we also reviewed variables. Okay, so okay, it looks like some people are done. So if no one has any questions, I'll move along. But I just want to tell you guys again, right? Feel free to ask questions at any time, right? That's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you guys, okay? So mine says 2 errors and exit status 1. Okay, it says error. Okay, alright, so exit status 1. So you guys want to make sure that you're creating this. Okay, so I think you guys might be having trouble with this statement right here. Make sure that this is an L. This is LN right here. Okay, so can you guys try that again? Error. Okay. Also make sure you have these semicolons at the end, right? These are very important. If you don't have it, then it'll give you an error too. Where is there Zoom? Actually, what I'll do is I'll create a Zoom room right now. For you guys, since some of you guys are having trouble, I'll just it'll be easier for me to talk to you guys. Alright, so I'll create my meeting. And okay, and then I'll just go here and then my meetings. I'll copy this invitation and post it into the chat, okay guys? Oh, it's too long. Okay, so I'll just okay. So I just put it into the chat. And so if you guys have any trouble, just enter that Zoom call and I'll be happy to help you guys. Security. Alright, so no waiting room. Alright, but if you guys aren't having any more trouble, then I'll just go on. But if you do have any trouble, feel free to join that room and I'll help you. Okay, so after we did this, we took in the name from our input and then stored it inside the variable called name. Oh, hey Jaden, do you have any trouble? Oh, do you need help with anything? Oh, could you pause the stream really quickly? Thanks. Yeah. So, tell me what the problem is. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, alright. So could you share your screen for me? Okay, that sounds great. Oh, my bad, sorry. Let me just make it so you can share your screen. No, it's no problem. I just need to see your video screen. Alright, I give you the ability to share screen, so you should be able to share now. Alright. Yeah, I can see, I can see. Alright, so we have okay. Oh, so what you forgot is that you're missing the curly braces. Okay, you're missing the curly braces, and so I want you to. So you see line 7, line 10. Can you highlight all of that? Now I want you to press Control. No, you don't have to copy paste anything. I just want you to press Control. Oh, after highlighting all of that, yeah. And so press Control and tab at the same time. Uh, sorry, you know where the tab key is? Yeah, so can you press control or yeah, control tab or no? No, shift tab, please. Shift tab. Okay, all right. So basically just go down to line 11 and can you type in the curly brace? Okay, so do you see the enter key? Oh no, you want to hold shift and then press that key. Good. So now press to line 12 and do that again. Yes, and now try running the program. Also, line 7 should be a semicolon, not a colon. At the very end, yeah, at the very end. Yeah, just change that. Yeah, so try, yeah, now try running it again. Alright, so your problem right here is symbol class scanner. Scanner input is equal to... Okay, so can you go to line 7 again? Go to line 7, please. Yeah, at the start of line 7. Press tab. Go to line 8 and do that too. Yeah, no problem. Now press tab again for line 10. No, you didn't delete it, yeah. And so I think what you did here, so you create your scanner, okay, now can you try that again? Oh yeah, no, you kind of have to have it. Oh, your scanner, you have to make that capital S. So at line 1, turn that into a capital S, please. Oh, capital, not a lowercase. Now run it, now it should be good. Yeah, whatever you want your name to be, you can just type it in. Yeah. Yeah, you can type Clark, you can type anything, right? So yeah, please enter your name and type in the name. Okay, your name is Clark. Now it should be working now. All right, sounds good. You're welcome. All right. All right, sorry about that, everyone, but like, oh yeah, so someone asked, how did you get my name is Mario thing? Okay, and so to get my name is Mario, you want to have this system.out.println statement, right? And for your name, you want to make it Mario, and so I'll just run it again. Because I took in the input for my name, uh, and I called my name back here, right? So I called the variable name, the variable name. So the variable is called name, right? And I made it so that name would be whatever I typed here. So because I typed in Mario, I could also type in Luigi. So if I want my name to be Luigi, I just type it here. And then it will basically say that, okay, your name is Luigi. And then it will print out my name and this right here. Okay, so now that we have that out of the way, what we can do is that we can also take in other values instead of letters, or say we can take in other values instead of words. We can also take in the values of numbers, right? And so we can also ask for the age. And so what we'll do right now is we'll create a variable called age, which we have to specify is an integer. Because if we don't specify if it's an integer or data type of it, it'll give us an error. So we'll create the variable and call it age. And along that, we'll take in the input. And so we use an input but next. Instead of next line, we're going to use next I and P. And so what this does is that it tells it that we're not looking for words, we're looking for a number. And so That way it'll make sure that it won't give us an error. Because if we try using something like next line, it'll give us an error because it's not a string. Yeah, that's how Java is. It's very important that you specify what type it is. Okay, so we're gonna type in another. Gonna have another print statement, and this will ask us, what is your age? What is your age? And so after we give it the age, which we did right here, we're going to have the computer tell us what our age is with this print statement. So it will say your age is, and then space, then plus, because we wanted to print out this variable, which is our age. Yeah, if you guys have any trouble, just let me know, and if you're done, just tell me. Okay. So once we run this, it will tell us our age. So we enter our name. My name is Mario. And so your name is Mario. So what is your age? I'll say my age is 7 years old. And so it'll tell me that my age is 7. Okay, and so now that we know the age and the name, we can continue doing some more complex stuff, right? So let's say that oh yeah, I'm in the code right now. Yeah, it's just a bit of a delay. So yeah. So again, guys, if you guys have any questions or you feel I'm going a bit too fast or a bit too slow, let me know in the chat and I can go faster or slower. Angela, are you having issues? If you're having issues, can you join the chat? Or not the chat, can you join the Zoom call? Yeah, then I'll be able to help you in the Zoom call. Oh, I'm going a bit too fast? Alright, yeah, don't worry about it. So I'll just re-explain the code line by line, okay? Oh yeah, yeah, I just went back to it. Want me to okay, here. Yeah. Can you see it right now? Sorry, Jaden, can you see the code right now? Alright, if you guys are done and don't have any questions, let me know in the chat again, okay? Yeah, because this is some new stuff, and I do know lots of you guys are just beginning to code, so it may be hard at first, but as we go on, it'll be start to get a lot easier as we learn more concepts. Oh, sorry, you can see the code, right? Okay. All right, so since we're done here, looks like everyone is done. No one said that they're not done, so I'll just go on to the next part. So now we have our name and age. Let's make up a random scenario for the game. Okay, let's say that there's a monster, right? And so in order to defeat the monster, um let's say we have to tell it a joke. All right, we have to guess something. So what we'll do right here is that we'll create a print statement that will tell us an ogre has a monster is here. There is a monster and you have to defeat it. Okay? And so I'll run it again and then it'll show us that this print statement here. So my name is Mario. Okay, Mario, what is your age? My age is 7. And so there's a monster and you have to defeat it. And so in order to defeat it, we have to, let's say we have to guess the name of the monster. And also, Jaden, you're currently sharing your screen right now. So if you could, if you don't have any issues, like just turn off your screen share, okay? All right, so now we have the game, right? And in order to beat it, we have to guess the age of the monster. And so we'll say, in order to beat me, you have to guess my age. All right. And so now what we'll do is that we'll ask the user to guess the age. And so to do that, we'll create a variable called the monster age. Okay. So, oh, hey Michael, if you have any issues, feel free to let me know and I can pause and help. Okay. So we have a variable called int. We specify that it's an int, right? Because for our age, we're using a whole number. And so we'll create this variable called monster age. Right. And alongside it, we're going to tell it take in we'll say that the monster age is actually 9. He's 9 years old. All right, guys? So then what we're going to do is we're going to create a variable which is going to hold our guess, which is going to hold our answer. Oh, sorry, Michael. If you have a question, can you mute the stream and then ask it in the Zoom call? Yeah, or you can just ask in the chat, and I'll if it's not a big issue, I can answer it. All right. But anyways, we have monster age, and now this is the monster's actual age, right? We have to guess the age. And so in order to hold our guess, we're going to create a variable called guess. And it's going to hold an integer value. And we're going to make it so that it's going to take in the user input. So we're going to do input next int. And so what this will do is that it will then take in our guess of the monster's age. So our name is Mario. So my age is 7. So there's a monster and you have to defeat it. In order to beat me, you have to guess my age. And so we'll guess that the age is 8, right? But it doesn't do anything, right? Because we haven't told our program what to do with the age. And so that's what we're going to do right now. In our next part, we're going to actually do something with the age. And what we're going to use is the if statements we learned last time. So if our guess is equal to the monster's age, we'll say always, and so remember to have these curly braces, right? These are really important in Java. In Python, you don't need them, but in Java, you do. So we're going to have our if statement. And this will be checking if our guess is the same as the actual answer. So if our guess is equal to the monster's age, we'll say system.out print line, and we'll say, wow, you beat the monster. But if the guess is not equal to the monster's age, we'll say, then we'll have, because there's either two possible outcomes to the game. Either you get the guess correct and the guess is equal to the monster age, or it's not equal to the monster's age, in which case you lose. And so because there's only two possible outcomes, we will use an if and else statement. And so for the else, we'll say if the guess, because there's only two possible options, if it's not equal, then it will go to the else. So we'll say if this, we'll say that, oh, you lost to the monster. Uh-oh, you You lost to the monster. Okay, and now we'll test it out really quickly. Alright, so we have to enter our name right now. So my name will be Mario. What's my age? My age is 7. And okay, there's a monster and you have to defeat it. In order to beat me, you have to guess my age. And let's say we guess incorrectly and we guess that his age is 12. Right? Because the age is not equal to the his actual age. His actual age is 9, as we said here, right? It will tell us that, uh-oh, we lost to the monster. And so once we lost, because we didn't guess it correctly, it goes here. But instead, well, something else we can do is we can guess correct. And so if we guess correct, it'll tell us that we won. Please enter my name. My name is Mario. And so it asks for my age. My age is 7. Yeah, I'll scroll down really quickly. Can you see it right now? Mm-hmm. Four arrows. Could you show me your screen, Michael? Yeah, and then I can solve your error. Alright, I can see it right now. Okay, so you have okay, so first of all, you go to line 10. Line 10, where it says 10. Yeah. So when you go to that, also line 7, you actually have a error. Go to line 7. You see where it says system.out.print? Yeah, so I want you to change that uppercase I to a lowercase l. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Also, can you go to line 5? Yeah, line 5 too. Yeah, so you see where it says system.in? That S has to be in uppercase in system. Alright, next we have L. You see line 8 where it says next line? Next line. I want you to change that L to an uppercase L. Yes. Alright, that's good. And also for line 10, you have to change that system.out line, that S right there at the start of line 10. So see where line 10, you see where it says system? Change that S to an uppercase, yeah. And then you have to, okay, so your code won't have any errors, but it will have one more problem. Yeah, see? Crashed? Okay, so just reload the page. So you see where it says, yeah, press that key. Yeah. Oh, Jaden, if it's okay, I can answer your question right after I answer Michael's. Yeah, yeah. Alright, so you created that, alright. So can you go to line 10? I want you to get rid of the second quotation. No, the quotation. Yeah. So you see where it's you see you have red text, right? So go to, you see where it says name? Yeah, I want you to get rid of the quotation that comes right after name. No. It's still line 10. So get rid of that quotation right after name. No, not that. That's the semicolon. You want to get, so you see you have the character right after name. It's like 2 lines in the air. So you want to get rid of that. No. No. Almost there. So go to the end of name. End of name. Yeah, you need to get rid of that, okay? So now I want you to go is. Now I want you to create a quotation mark. Same thing we just got rid of, quotation, yeah. I want you to add a plus sign right before name. Right, okay, and then line 10, go to the system again. What, because you accidentally got rid of a, so go to system. It's at the start. And so right after the M, right there, I want you to press dot. Okay, now try running it. Yeah, no problem. Okay. So tell me how it goes, and if it's still not working, then we'll see what we can do later, okay? Alright, let's keep going. Yeah, Aiden, you can, sorry, what's your name again? Forgot, Jaden, yeah, you can share your screen really quickly. Alright, can I, so you have an error in your code right now? Okay, well then you don't have any other issues, okay? So I'm just gonna keep going, right? After we finish this, we've finished our little game. So this is basically teaching you guys how to use the what's it called, scanner, and how to get this user input, right? And so I want to let you guys know, also wanted to let you guys know how to you could create an object in Java, right? And so today you guys created your first scanner object. And so we learned basically the basic declaration of how to do it. It's a bit different from an integer, but it follows like the same kind of rules where you have to specify what it is. And so we were creating a scanner object, right? So we have to make sure that we call scanner, and then we named it our variable name. And in this case, we named it input. And so then we use this new keyword to create a scanner. I'll go more in depth into it once we get into object-oriented programming a bit more, but for now we'll just skip over it. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we're going to learn about something called loops. And so I'm going to create a brand new replet for that, okay? So go to your repl.com and go to create and select the Java language, and I'll call this one loops. That's where we're going to do today. We're going to be working with loops. Okay. Also, if if it's going a bit slow, I can speed it up a little bit, okay? So we're in our main.java file. So don't get rid of any of this stuff, right? Don't get rid of this. Only get rid of this line. Because you have to have this part in your main file or it won't run. Okay, so we're going to be learning. Okay, yeah, share your screen really quickly. Yeah, you can share your screen. Hmm. Let's see. Can you scroll all the way down? Okay. All right, you missed something. So go to line 28. and add a bracket. Yeah. No, the curly one. Yeah. And so but you don't wanna enter like the one, another, no, not that bracket. It's the opposite one, like yeah, that one. And so go to line 25 and do the same thing. Yeah, and enter that same bracket. Yeah. Now try running it. Yeah, don't worry about that. Okay, so you forgot to add a semicolon on line 24. Yeah, you have to remember that. Alright, and now it'll work. There shouldn't be any errors now. Mhm. Anyways, if it doesn't work, let me know. I'm going to continue with the lesson. Alright. Okay, so let's continue going on. Sorry about that, guys, but it's going to happen regularly. Alright. So as I was saying, we're going to be working with loops today. And so sometimes you might want to repeat a certain part of your code in order to do something, right? So say you wanted to you wanted to repeat something over and over again, right? In that case, what you don't want to just copy and paste the code because that's a very inefficient way of writing it. What you would do is you would use a loop. A new REPL? Okay, so uh, basically I want you to go to here. See it? Actually, okay, so now what you want to do is you want to go to that, you want to go to, yeah, that, click on that menu. So new REPL, yeah, new REPL. Then click Java, give it a name. You can name it anything you want. Alright, now create it. Yeah. And now you're good. No, don't delete all of it. Just delete line 3. Yeah, and then we'll be good, okay? Alright, sorry about that, guys. I'll go back to the lesson. Yeah, Matthew, the code autosave, so you don't need to worry about it being lost. Alright, so now let's get back to the topic. So right now I'm going to go over really quickly loops. And so loops are used to repeat certain sections of the code. So for instance, you wanted to you had a, let's say you had number 5 and you wanted to multiply it by itself 3 times, in which case you could use a loop. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that. So let's first create our variable called number, which will store a number. Okay, and we're going to, sorry, I forgot. We're going to use user input for this again. So we're going to go and say import java util dot scanner. And this will import the scanner package, and that package will allow us to create a scanner object and get the user input. So let's create our scanner right now. So we're going to create scanner, and we're going to call it put is equal to new scanner dot, and we're going to have these regular brackets system in. I'll get rid of this. Yes, and now we have our scanner object, and so now we're going to create our variable called number, and inside that variable we're going to take in the integer. So we're going to say input dot next line, next int actually, because we're taking in a whole number, an integer. Once we take in an int, we are going to then store it inside of this number variable, which we just did. And now we're going to actually do something with it. So now I'm going to show you guys how to declare a loop. And so as I said before, loops are really useful for repeating stuff, repeating certain actions. And we have a lot of different types of loops. Today I'm just going to show you guys a couple of them. So the first kind of loop we have the for loop. And so in order to create a for loop, you have to write keyword for, which is FOR, right? And then what you have are these, what do you call it? These curly, not curly, regular braces. And so inside of these braces, you're going to be writing some information about the loop, which is going to tell us like maybe how many times the loop repeats or when you want the loop to stop, right? And so the for loop is kind of like an if statement, very similar in that they also have you have to indicate what's been done with these curly braces. So what I want you guys to do is to create these curly braces, and then right here I want you to press enter, and so then it will make the curly braces like this. And so if we want to write something, if we want to repeat something, what we do is that we repeat it inside of these curly braces. If we put it inside of the curly braces, it tells the computer that okay, you only want to repeat what's inside of the for loop, right? Then it'll know actually what to repeat, and it won't like give you an error. All right, so let me know if you guys have any questions. If not, I'll keep going. Yeah, just type it if you have any questions in the chat. If not, keep going. All right, so when creating a for loop in Java, you have to say int. So basically in Java, the way a loop works, right, is that it does something a certain amount of times, right? And so in Java, what you have to do is that you have to specify how many times you want to do it, right? And you do this by creating a variable. I want you guys to type the code, okay? Yeah, Jaden, I want you guys to type the code, okay? Okay, yeah, that's okay. You can just listen, and then afterwards, because you can watch the stream afterwards, you can follow along. But I would recommend you do write down the code, because that's very important. Okay? Alright. So, in a for loop, you have to create a variable. So, we're going to say int I is equal to 0. And this is a very standard format of a loop. And so, you have three parts to the loop. So the first part is first creating a variable, right? So, and then second part is like telling the loop when to stop, because if the loop never stops, if it keeps going and going and going on forever, it'll give you an error, right? Because it'll never stop. So what we're going to do right now is specify when this loop will stop. And so as you can see here, we created this variable called I, which is an integer variable, right? A whole number, and we gave it the value of 0. Well, we're going to say that we want to repeat it 5 times, okay? So when I is smaller than 5, we'll repeat the code which is inside of the loop. If every single time the loop iterates, right? Every single time we do the loop, it will actually print out this. It will not print out. It will actually make the I increase by 1. So for instance, let's say we're on the first iteration of the loop, right? And it's 0, okay? So after we go through the loop the first time, the loop will go here and say, okay, is I smaller than 5? And since I is equal to 0, right? It knows that it's smaller than 5, so the loop will continue. All right. And so after we go through it, it will turn I into 1. So I is no longer equal to 0, right? And so once I is equal to 1, it'll go over here and then compare again. And it'll ask, all right, is I still smaller than 5? And since I is equal to 1, it's still smaller. And so it'll continue going through the loop all the way until I becomes 5. And then it'll say, is I smaller than 5? Well, no, I is not smaller than 5. Actually, I is equal to 5. And so it will stop on whatever is inside the loop. And so I'm going to show you guys how the loop will work. So say I have a print statement within the loop. See if you guys have any questions. Again, if you guys have questions at any time, if I'm going too fast, just let me know, okay? So we're going to put our print statement inside of the for loop. And inside of the for loop, we'll make it print out I. We're going to print out this variable, and I'm going to show you what happens to I every time the loop goes. Okay. All right, so oh yeah, I have to specify this, and so ignoring this right here, ignoring the number I input, you can see that it prints out 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So this is actually showing how the loop is working right now. We start the loop at 0, okay? So and how do we measure how many times the loop goes? Well, we do it through this variable called I, right? And so we call the I 0. And while the I is smaller than 5, we want to increase the I by 1. We'll say I plus plus. And so for the most part, most of your loops will be looking like this, where every single time you go through the loop, you have condition to make sure that when the loop will escape, when the loop will stop, right? Because a loop is great to know when it stops, because if the loop's on forever, and it's not going to do anything, and it'll give you an error, right? So it's really important that you know you have this part right here, which tells you when the loop actually stops, right? And so in the next part, you have this, which is this statement, which is essentially telling you how much your variable that's controlling the loop is going to increase. And so we're going to tell it that every time it goes through the loop, it's going to increase by 1. But it doesn't have to increase by 1 every single time. Instead, it can increase by any single value. Could make it increase by even 2. So we could say that I is equal to I plus 2. And so this will actually change the loop and make it go through a different number of times. So we'll just have that. So notice how it prints out 0, 2, and 4. This time it's only going through the loop 3 times, right? And so let me see if I can create a drawing right here. So how do you create a new drawing? Okay, unit test files. Let's add a draw. Okay, so I'm actually going to show you guys how the loop works. So over here we know that the int is equal to 0, right? So our variable called I is equal to 0. And then we're telling it while I is smaller than 5. While I is smaller than 5, loop will keep going, right? The only difference is that every single time the loop occurs, I will be changed. And so I will be equal to I plus 2, which is basically just saying you add 2 to I. Okay. And so let's actually go through and see how it works. So on the first iteration of the loop, you want to print out the value of I. So because I starts at 0, we'll first print out 0. So you'll print out 0, right? And then in the second iteration, I will be equal to I plus 2. Well, let's do our math right now. So if I is 0, right, what's 0 plus 2? That's 2, right? And so that means that we're going to be printing out 2 right here. So, and afterwards, we'll print out 2, right? So now let's remember we have 2. Is 2 smaller than 5? It is smaller than 5, so we continue the loop. Alright, so our variable I is going to be equal to 2 plus 2, right? What's 2 plus 2? 2 plus 2 is 4. And so we want to print out I. So since I is equal to 4, we will print out 4 now. Alright, and is 4 smaller than 5? Yes, 4 is smaller than 5. So we'll go and then we'll go to this part and say that I is equal to I plus 2. And so this I is basically a 4. And so what's 4 plus 2? Plus 2 is 6. So, but the problem is that 6 is larger than 5, right? So because we're telling it that it will only run as long as I is smaller than 5, as soon as I is larger than or equal to the 5, okay, so as soon as I is smaller than 5, or like not smaller than 5, what's gonna happen is that the loop will stop. And because 6 is larger than 5, loop has stopped and it will not print out 6, okay? And okay, now that we kind of understand how simple loops work, now what we're going to do is we're going to create a loop to repeat something. Okay, so now what we'll create a loop. We'll create our loop I is equal to 0. You can make I equal to anything, but it's a lot easier to read if it's 0. So I is equal to 0, while I is smaller than, or it doesn't even have to be I. You could make any condition. So for instance, last time we learned about Boolean values. So we could say that while I, or like while something else is true, right? We could say that while I is 0, but for now we'll just work with in our loop. So while I is smaller than 0, I is smaller than, let's say I is smaller than our number, but we don't know what number is, right? Number will be whatever value we decide to give it. So we'll say, well, I is smaller than number. We'll print out, we'll go I plus plus. And then system.out.print line I. And so what this code does right here is that it's going to print out all the numbers from 0 to whatever number we tell it to print out. So I'll run it right now and show you guys as an example. So we have to type in a number, right? So say I want to print out all the numbers from 0 to 9. In that case, I would type in 9. Well, something's not working here. Alright, that was just... Okay. So 9. Either... hold on one moment. Let me just reload this page. Sometimes Rebel does that. Yeah, class normally actually ends at around 6:30, but I saw that last time lots of people thought like an hour and a half was a bit long, which to be honest, it is pretty long time. So from now on, all our classes will be going to 6, and from 6 to 6:30 will be the help period, or the extra period where I will talk about some extra stuff. Or like it will be a small preview to the next lesson essentially. So if you don't want to continue listening and you're a bit tired and you want to take a break, you can feel free to leave the live stream right now. But I'm going to be continuing if any of you guys have any more questions, right? I'm just going to finish this little section, and then you guys can all leave if you want to, of course. If you don't want to leave, then that's fine. You can ask for more help. So right now we're running it. Okay, and so it's going to take in the value, right? So let me just stop it. There's something wrong with the REPL right now. If I'm going to see what happens if I can just copy and paste this into my old one. Okay, so let's see, there's an error here. Oh, okay, so I made a very common error of forgetting a curly brace. Now this will work. Alright, so now it asks for a number, right? So I want the number 9. And what it does here is that it starts at 0, it goes to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Because if you look at our loop, we told to start from 0. And so we want to print out this variable called I. Alright, and so we first start at 0 and we loop through, and then we increase I by a little bit every single time. And so we tell the loop to stop once the I is smaller than the number, right? But we don't want that. We want it to also print out the number itself. So we'll also put in the smaller than or equal to. And so what this tells us is that loop will keep going as long as I is smaller than or equal to the number, all right? So if it's smaller than or equal to the number, then the loop will continue. If it's larger than the number, say this is larger than number, it'll stop, then it won't repeat the loop. And so, all right, it's going to ask us for a number to type in. So let's say we want the number 10. Give me all the numbers from 0 to 10. All right. So what the loop does is that it starts at 0, okay. Because our number is equal to 10, it will keep going, right? Because it's 0 is smaller than 10, and it'll print out that number. Then we go again. This time it increments by 1, so then I will be equal to 1. And print it out, and it basically keeps doing that all the way until we reach 10, right? Because as soon as I becomes 11, the program stops. Because we told it that we only want the program to run as long as I is smaller than or equal to number. And because number is 10, is I as long as I is smaller than or equal to 10. My REPL hasn't ran my code for the last 10 minutes. Okay, let me just take this. Alright, so if you're still having issues, please enter this Zoom call and I'll be able to help you. Yeah, and then I'll try to see if you're still having troubles. Yeah, but that concludes the lesson for today. If you're still having trouble, then you can join the Zoom call and I'll help you out. But if you have any trouble, you don't have any trouble at all, and you've already copied down this code, then you can leave. You don't have to stay any longer because I'm not going to be teaching anything new today. All right? So yeah, if you guys still have anything else you have to ask me, you can leave. I mean, you can stay, right? If you have any questions, please stay. But if you don't have any questions, feel free to leave because yeah, the lesson's over. I'm just going to be answering any questions now. Okay. All right. Let's see if we have any more people in here. Okay. We So right now I'm going to be ending the stream. Thank you all for coming today, and if you have any questions, join the Zoom call. But until then, see ya.